Hey there, guys. So yeah, let's talk about a fight that's going to be happening in the 140 pounds division in about a month's time between Jack Catterall and Regis Prograis. So yeah, I think this fight sets a good precedent for boxing. If you've got one guy in Regis Prograis, who's a former world champion, who could probably walk into a title fight based on just his name recognition. And you've got another guy in Jack Catterall who's coming off a very good win against Josh Taylor. Who's probably right in line to fight, Liam Paro or someone like that. So I think, these guys fighting each other. I believe this fight's going to be the first in the Manchester Co-op Arena. These guys fighting each other just to decide who the best contender is for the title shot. I think this sets a good example for boxing. And I think we should probably see, more fights like this. We should have more sort of IBF elimination tournaments, like the one with Pavek and Chris Bird. I believe Eddie Chambers was in it, just to put two or four guys in a tournament and just decide who the best contender is to fight for the title next. I like this fight, and I think this is going to be quite an interesting fight from a stylistic point of view. I don't think this fight's going to be that entertaining. I don't think it's going to be like the Jack Catterall versus Josh Taylor. I don't think this fight's going to be an absolute war or anything like that. I think it's going to be, a chess match. I think it's going to be a very technical fight. Neither guy is very high volume. You look at Regis Prograis, he's got a very unique style, very awkward. Constantly throwing feints. A lot of upper body movement. And he's someone who likes to pick his shots. He likes to pick that straight left hand. He's not very high volume. He just looks to pick his shots as opposed to overwhelming his opponents. Jack Catterall, very similar in some ways. He's very low volume. He likes to pick that jab, pick that left hand. He's someone who's very selective with his punch output. So this is going to be quite a low output fight. I don't think either guy's really going to try and overwhelm the other. I think this is going to be, just a chess match, a very tactical fight. And from a stylistic point of view, I think this fight favours Jack Catterall. I think he's got better hand speed. I think he's got a better defense. One of Jack Catterall's most underrated qualities, in my opinion, is probably his defense. I don't think people talk about it enough when it comes to this guy. He's someone who's very hard to hit clean. He's someone who, you can hit him. Josh Taylor did land quite a few shots on him, but he wasn't really able to crack him with anything really clean that spun his head around or anything like that. He's someone who rolls with shots very well. He's someone who, uses that shoulder roll very effectively. He's got quite good head movement. And I think Regis Prograis is someone who gets hit a lot more. He's someone who fights with his hands down. He relies on that upper body movement. And I think he gets hit a lot cleaner than Jack Catterall does. So from a stylistic point of view, I think Jack Catterall's just got the advantage. I think his hands are a bit quicker. I think, he throws very nice straight shots. I think that jab is going to give Regis a lot of problems. And I think Jack Catterall will be able to land more, and I think he'll be able to land cleaner shots than Regis is going to be able to land. And I think he'll just win rounds based on that. Regis is someone who, to really put the pressure on Jack Catterall to make it really uncomfortable for him. You've got to cut off the ring. You've got to, back him into a corner, try and outwork him, land those shots to the body. Try and outwork him, make him uncomfortable. Just like Josh Taylor did in the last fight. You'll notice that Josh Taylor in the last fight really cut off the ring very effectively. He was getting inside. He was able to just really rush at Jack Catterall, put him on the ropes, and then really work that body and just outwork him on the ropes. Regis is someone who doesn't really do that in fights. He's someone who has quite slow feet, and he's someone who's very patient. He's happy to stand on the outside and just try and pick his shots. He's not someone who's just going to absolutely, charge at Jack Catterall. You look at his fight against Zorilla, for example. Zorilla was on their back foot all night. Pretty much running, to be fair, but Regis really couldn't cut off the ring. He had 12 rounds to do so, and he really didn't do it at any point. And that ended, the fight ended up very, very close. I thought Regis won it just based on Zorilla was running. But, Regis really didn't look very good in that fight. You really got... At times in that fight when Zorilla was standing his ground, he did get outboxed just from long range. And Zorilla was just moving around. His footwork was really bad. Like, Zorilla was awkward, but not in a good way. He was really unrefined in his technique. And, with Regis not being able to cut off the ring or doing anything to, negate Zorilla's like height and reach, Zorilla was just able to land those shots from the outside. He dropped Prograis, even though it wasn't counted. And, I just think he showed a lot of flaws in that fight when he faces someone who uses a lot of movement, who moves laterally, who tries to box from the outside. Prograis is someone who, if you just stand your ground with him, you look at like the Tyrone McKenna fight, you look at when he fought Josh Taylor, you look at the Zepeda fight, for example. These guys who don't really have much movement, the guys who are more stationary, Prograis is able to really do well against these guys. He pushed Josh Taylor to the wire, really close fight. He knocked out Tyrone McKenna, and he knocked out Jose Zepeda as well. But the mover types, give Prograis a lot more problems. And I can see Jack Catterall doing, a very similar thing to what Zorilla did, but I don't think Catterall will, run as much. And I think this fight will be very competitive. Don't get me wrong, I think Prograis will have a lot of success. And I think we'll learn a couple of things about Jack Catterall in this fight. I don't believe Jack Catterall has ever fought anyone who hits as hard as Regis Prograis. He's been in with guys who can hit. He's been in with Josh Taylor, he's been in with Ahara Davis, he's been in with other guys, but to me, I don't think he's ever fought, like a one-punch knockout artist like Regis Prograis. So it'll be interesting to see, whether he can stand up to that power, what his chin's like, but I think the fight will be competitive. I think Regis will land. I think he'll definitely have his success. I think there'll be rounds in this fight which could go either way. But I probably would favour Jack Catterall to win. And just based on overall freshness, I just think Regis has had a lot of a harder career. I think he's coming to the end a lot more than Jack Catterall is. Regis had more fights, he's had more wars. He's got a fighting style which doesn't age as well as Jack Catterall's. And you just think of some of the hard fights he's been in, like the Zepeda fight, the Josh Taylor fight. He lied down for Devin Haney in his last fight. Just did nothing and just got, beaten up for 12 rounds pretty much. And I just think Jack Catterall's considerably fresher, he's younger, and I just think he's got stylistic advantages in this fight. And another thing, I don't think Regis is just going to be able to, walk through Jack Catterall's punches and just knock him out or something like that. Surprisingly, I've seen a lot of people think Regis Prograis is just going to walk through Jack Catterall, like I've seen in like YouTube comment sections and whatnot. I think Catterall's power is very underrated, in that left hand. I don't think Regis Prograis really got the foot speed, or I just don't think he's going to be able to just walk through Jack Catterall's punches, and knock him out. And Catterall's someone who he's always moving laterally. He's always getting out of range. He's always using his feet. So I don't think this is a very good stylistic matchup for Regis. I just think Jack Catterall will win rounds based on his better defense and just cleaner shots and hand speed. And I just think he'll be the fresher guy. I still think the fight will be very competitive. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Catterall got hurt at some point. Just based on Regis landed like a big left hand or something. And I give Regis Prograis a puncher's chance. I think, if he lands that perfect left hand or like a right hook or something, I think he could potentially, do some damage. But I just don't think it's that likely with Jack Catterall's defense and just, his stylistic advantages. But I would give Prograis a puncher's chance, as you would give any puncher. But yeah, I just think Catterall's going to win 8-4, 9-3 type decision. I just think he's got the stylistic advantages, and I just think he's fresher. So, and obviously it's in his hometown, it's in Manchester. Catterall from Chorley, which is very close to Manchester. And he was politically protected against Josh Taylor. You saw the scorecard in that fight. They gave him nine rounds in the fight, which, potentially could have been scored a draw. I had Catterall by 7-5, but, that fight could have gone either way, in my opinion. And I just think, being in his hometown, being someone who Matchroom probably want to promote, just based on the scorecards in his last fight, how he was sort of set up to win. I just think, Regis is going to have to get a knockout to get a decision. And I just don't see it happening. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this fight in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching, and God bless.